Hey everyone, it's Heidi Hardy and it's 12 on Sunday. So we're doing real life transitions, the mini series, every day from between 12 and 2. And today I was really excited about this part of real life transitions, so I wanted to do it early. So here I am, it's 12. Happy spring. I think it's the first day of spring and I'm super excited because there's lots of sunshine outside. Today's episode is more about if you love someone that's going through a transition, what do you do? How do you handle it? What kind of things can you say or do? Because transitions, for those of you who don't know, and let me recap why I'm doing this mini series. Last week I had a couple of days where there was news about things that were going on in my life that were causing transitions. And when I say transitions, they're not always bad. My particular transition was a layoff, and my show got canceled, Real Life DFW. But sometimes transitions are having a baby. Sometimes transitions are doing something like retiring and becoming financially independent. There's a lot of good transitions, but what a transition in life really is someone's life is changing, and what does that mean for their future? So today, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did, because yesterday we had 4 tips what to do if you're going through a transition, and that was easy for me because I'm going through transition. But I realized that sometimes you love people who are going through a transition, and what do you do when that happens? What do you say? How do you act? Is it enough? Is it too much? Should you stay in touch? There's a lot of questions that go on in someone's head when they're told that somebody they love is going through a transition. So today's episode is about if you love somebody going through a transition, what should you do and how should you approach that situation? So here's the 4 tips, starting with tip number 1. Sometimes people going through a transition, it could be health related, it could be job related, family related. There's a lot of transitions in life. Sometimes people just want to talk. Sometimes they just want to talk it out. So the best thing that you can do, the number 1 tip, is to listen. I think it's sometimes hard to listen without judgment or advice. You want to give advice right away, but really people who are going through a transition are sort of in shock. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this just happened. It's exciting, it's sad, it's whatever emotion, but they need to get it out and they need to talk about it. So what you can do if you love somebody going through a transition is just listen. Make sure that the facial expressions that you have are not too I don't know, too much facial expression, I guess. Sometimes if somebody's telling you about a transition, about a job loss or a loss of other sorts, you have a very sad, I'm so sorry look on your face. That's okay, but you want to make sure that they know that you're just listening and there's no judgment going on there. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think, goes with number 1, and that is empathize. If you know someone who's going through a transition, I don't care how charmed your life is. Every one of us have gone through a transition in our life, a divorce, a new job, a new marriage. There's so many transitions in life. So empathize with the person that you love, and maybe share with them something like, hey, I remember when I went through this and I was anxious and I was scared, but here's what happened. Everything turned out okay. But empathize with them, share a small story of your own, and give them some encouragement that it isn't the end of the world and that they are going to make it through. Number 3 is 4 words that everybody that's going through a transition love to hear, and that is, how can I help? Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to be helpful when someone you love is going through a transition. But I will say, if you say, how can I help, really mean it. Really give them some options on help that you can give them. And it may be that really you can only give them advice, a listening ear, a story of encouragement, a text, a prayer. If you can help, please follow through also. So I remember when I had a friend going through a transition, I wanted to help them in some way, and I offered some help. I followed through and gave them the name of a couple of people that they could reach out to. If they did or they didn't, it's okay, but I was able to provide some sort of help to this person that I cared about. So how can I help is a powerful, powerful phrase from somebody that loves somebody going through a transition. And if they say, you know, there's really nothing you can do, that's okay. It's not personal. It might be that there isn't anything you can do, or it might be that they're in shock and there is something you can do maybe later. So don't give up on them. And tip number 4, I think this one is really subjective. I think some people will probably disagree and some people will agree. But tip number 4 is stay in touch. Whatever you do, when someone's going through a transition, again, a new baby, retirement, a new marriage, a divorce, all those things, some of the fear that they have is that they're going to lose their friends, their family. They're going to find themselves alone because life is shifting. And what you can do as someone that loves them is stay in touch. Send them a note. Leave them a text, tell them you're praying about them, send them a card, call them. Oh my gosh, I love phone calls, and I know other people do too. If they don't respond fast, again, it's not personal. A lot of times people going through transitions are so absorbed with solving the problem or wrapping their arms around this transition that they're not always thinking about social part of their lives. But stay in touch, because ultimately they're going to get out of the transition and their life is going to be okay, and you're going to want to have a continued a relationship with them and show them love, and vice versa. So please stay in touch. One way to do that is pick them up for lunch, and just don't even ask. Just say, hey, I'm coming over, I'm going to pick you up for lunch. I hope it's okay. Most likely that they'll be okay. Take them for a pedicure. Give them a book that you've read that helped you get through it. There's things that you can do that staying in touch isn't a bad thing. And I understand that when people you love are going through a transition, you've got your life, you're carrying on, you're doing things every single day, and really you are praying for them and thinking about them, but you don't have time necessarily to put a lot of time into staying in touch. Just think about this person and make sure they understand that you're there for them, because we're all going through stuff every single day, and you want them to be aware of how much you love them. So that's it. 4 tips. If you love somebody going through a transition, these are the things that you should do. I'll put them out on my website. It's reallifedfw.com. And tomorrow, between 12 and 2, tune in. Don't forget to tune in, because tomorrow is the 1-week anniversary of the email I received from Fishbowl Radio Network telling me that my show was canceled. And I thought about it and I prayed about it. I'm going to share that with you tomorrow. I guess my interpretation of why Real Life DFW got canceled. So kind of an interesting story, and I look forward to sharing that with you tomorrow. Transitions are part of life, and if you embrace them and you embrace those that are going through it, life is just a wonderful journey. So have a wonderful Sunday. Happy spring. Thanks for listening. This is Heidi Hardy, and it's Real Life Transitions, the mini series. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.